passes. Got a running back, Mays, who's about almost 6.8 yards per carry as well. A big, strong offensive line. Really solid special teams. They always seem to have a good punt returner. Rodriguez returned the ball well. I know Matt Wells well, and I'm sure they'll have their football team ready to go. We'll be playing at Logan, Utah on Friday night. So at this time, any questions that you have for me?
Greg, I see Nick listed as the starter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an update on Cam
Yep.
or Tanner? Where do you stand there?
Yeah, I'll give you as much information as what I have, and I know a lot of coaches don't do that, but I want to be forthright and give you as much information as what we can. All the x-rays have come back as negative, and so there's the indication that we've gotten so far from reading the x-rays is there's no broken bones. However, he's very sore, and so I went down and spent a lot of time with the training staff this morning. And I said, so where's he at? And they described it as being doubtful. He's not ruled out, but I would say it'd be doubtful to remote. So we're going to go ahead and rep Nick as the number one quarterback during the course of this week. If something changes later on in the week, I'll certainly let you know. But right now, we're not foreseeing that.
Same with Gentry. Is there any change with him going into this week?
He's a no-go. I can tell you that. He's a no-go, and that's going to probably be a couple more weeks before we have an update on him. Now, I can tell you this, many years ago, I said our quarterback was out. He had a broken collarbone. He was a broken collarbone, and somehow the guy healed faster than what we ever thought. So we'll keep you updated. I certainly understand and appreciate the fact that you're asking. I know that's a responsibility you have, but that's the information that I have on Tanner. No other questions?
With the short week, I know we talked after that, you got back, looked at film, does everything get just pushed back a day? Do you get a day off after this game? How do you kind of condense everything on a short week?
What we try to do, Robert, is you can't say it's a normal week, but you can't say it's a 1 day short. We've tried to merge what we've done. Typically, we give our players Sunday off. We came back in and we watched the tape, and they did some recovery workouts and things like that. Today is not a typical Monday or a typical Tuesday, but we're certainly trying to catch up. I know Utah State, they've got the advantage. They have an extra day on us. And so, it is what it is. We're going to get ourselves ready to prepare. And I had a chance to meet with our players last night, and they're in good spirits. Certainly it was disappointing to get beaten by Boise State. I do believe Boise State is an excellent football team and really played well against us. There were some bright spots. There certainly were some disappointing things in the ball game, but there were some bright spots as well, and we're going to build on those.
With Nick getting the number one first team reps, what are you expecting to see from him? Do you see now on film with basically a full game, I guess, between Eastern Michigan and last week? Do you see areas where you think he can make strides?
We certainly do. I think the fact that he'll get all the repetition with the ones this week, unless something changes with Cam, that's going to have an impact. And it's always difficult to be the backup because 99% of the time you're a backup and you're standing on the sidelines trying to stay engaged. But now all those practice reps are certainly more meaningful. We'll put him in situations that I think are going to test him a little bit more in practice. That's always a difficult decision, how much work you give your one, how much work you give to your two. And so he'll certainly, I think, benefit from more practice repetition this week.
Greg, with Cam, being sore, maybe, out, do you give Aaron Young more reps too to get him ready? And that's going down to your number 4 guy. So do you try to work him in there a little bit?
You know what we do, and what you will not hear me do, Robert, is, okay, we got our number 3 or 4. Well, no, they're not. He's our number 1. Nick's our number 1 quarterback, and Aaron's our number 2 quarterback, and we're going to prepare those guys likewise.
Coach, back to Nick real quick. Obviously, we saw what he could do running the football, the first time, and then obviously on Saturday night. What have you seen in terms of his development, throwing the football a little more effectively?
He needs to develop that, and some of that you can attribute to the fact that he hadn't been a 1 or a 2, and so the number of repetitions he's had during 7-on-7 and teamwork has been limited. This week we're certainly going to work on that. I think Cam was throwing the ball at a very high efficiency rate. Nick's not there. We need to develop that. We're not changing our offense. Our offense is going to be doing the same things. So we need Nick to improve his passing game.
You've, when you've had Nick in there, you've had him run the ball a little bit more, just giving up his skill set. With him being exposed to some more hits, do you think about bringing someone else into like a third string spot just in case, or how do you deal with that?
No, we certainly are. I'm not going to go through that right now because we quite haven't got our arms wrapped around that. But we need to go in with the attitude to win the game as opposed to protect a quarterback. And so we're going to do everything we can to get ourselves ready to go to have a chance to win the game.
I know against, not having Tanner, I know Jay caught the lion's share of the passes. I know Joe caught one, and, I know he spread it around to Hollister more, even the running backs. What'd you see from the other wide receivers, or would you like to see maybe move ahead?
We need more productivity. Tanner had become a go-to guy, and Jake Mulhar's done some good things. I thought he caught a great touchdown pass. It's going to be important for our other receivers, whether James Price, Justice Murphy, or Joe Parker, to come in there and get some touches. Certainly, Jake Hollister's done a good job, and will continue to spread the ball around. But we cannot be one-dimensional. Just say, okay, the only guy we're throwing to is Mulhar. That's not going to work very well.
You look at defensively, it looks like you've been able to, last few weeks, kind of stay with a somewhat same lineup, getting some guys back from injury. You're liking to be able just to get that consistency with this group finally set.
We played better, and I'm an old defensive coach. I think our numbers are trending that way. As I sit and I watch the tape and I watch this on the sideline, there's more guys around the football. We're tackling better. There's fewer bigger plays. I did think that Boise did a better job than most teams as far as sustaining drives. Typically, we have not had somebody play quarterback as well as what Ripon had done, and they got some things going in the running game. But our defense is coming around, and I think some of it is attributed. We've adjusted some things in our lineup, and now that lineup is staying a little bit more static, and that's certainly having an impact. And I think we're improving on the field.
I see you have DJ. Now you have Wingard returning punts. I saw him return one, and also DJ still. But I know DJ's on the field so much. Or is that just getting him not as many hits and reps to give him a break, or what are you seeing?
That was the biggest decision, Robert. In the Nevada game, DJ got gassed, and I think in the Boise game, I believe he made 14 tackles, and so there's only so many repetition a guy can have, and so he's returning kickoffs. We're just trying to limit the number of repetition. It's not so much hits, but there's only so many times that he's getting played out. And we're playing him a lot, and so the idea going into this game was to play Wingard and have him catch some punts. So not that we weren't pleased with how how DJ was doing. It was just I just thought we were getting him too tired. And back at returning a punt, if you're kind of fatigued, and the next thing you know, you go back there and you're not exactly in the right position. You drop a punt. It's a pretty significant turnover.
Coach, I see Kellen Overstreet is still listed as the number 2 running back.
That's correct.
Nico got the reps. Was there any reasoning for that? I saw that Kellen did travel. Was it an injury or something else?
No. The number of reps that Nico got really were not from the tailback position. They were from another position. So that's kind of where that came about. You're going to see Nico and Kellen play. Kellen's going to be our number 2 guy, but Nico's another guy. A lot of times, depending on the flow of the game, how many repetitions Brian's getting, how tired he is, some of that comes into play.
You mentioned the Utah State defense, how explosive and forcing turnovers. Is it from everyone across the board? Is it the linebackers? What's made them, I guess, so explosive in your mind? Right?
When you look at them right away, Robert, their front 7 is very imposing. They're an aggressive group. They operate out of a 3-down front, and it's not so much how somebody deploys, whether 3 down or 4 down, it's who's doing that. And they've got a really strong, effective defensive front. The linebackers are aggressive, and that forces you into passing situations, and their DBs are very ball hawking. And, they play great defense, and those turnovers, like I said, they're tied for the lead. They're very comparable to Boise on defense.
What have you seen from Myers in terms of his development at quarterback since you last saw him last November?
I think he's throwing the ball better. And, that became apparent, the number of shots that they're taking. Last year, I know that he was a guy, they dealt with adversity last year, and I thought they did a great job dealing with that adversity. He's throwing the ball better, he's operating the offense better. They've expanded the offense from what they had last year. I know that they've got a new offensive coordinator, a very innovative guy. And so Heupel's, he's done a lot of things when he was at Oklahoma, so I see flavors of that as well.
Coach, this is your fourth game on the road in 5 weeks, 5 of the last 7.
Mhm.
How taxing is it on your team to be constantly traveling in that short a span?
I don't think the travel is as much, but, certainly the late night games and turnaround in the short week, that makes it more of a challenge. But our players, I think, are adapting better than our coaches. And so we'll deal with that as coaches. That's why we have a lot of different coffee stores in town. I was gonna state a name, but I'd get in trouble, so I can't do that.
Okay, with Nestus and Wake, is it the same thing this
Mhm.
week against still in protocol? Any progress, anything?
You know what, I'm limited as far as the number of comments that I can make. I know that they're in the protocol. That's a deliberate, long protocol, and I've got no control over that.
At what point do you consider medical red shirts? I know that they would both be eligible, right, based
Mhm.
off of the first 4 games.
We've not even looked at that. What we're looking at is just to make sure these guys are healthy. And, you can have a sprained ankle or a sprained knee or whatever. Sometimes I joke, that's a long ways away from your heart. You'll be okay. When you're dealing with something as significant as a concussion, I think there needs to be a lot of protocol steps. And so beyond even looking at, quote, medical red shirts, that they need to be cleared. And neither one of them are cleared right now. Other questions? Okay, all right, thank you very much.